searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Someday you go through the rain, and someday you'll feed on a tree frog. It's ordeal, the trial to survive. For the day we see new light, I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a video I've been working on for just a little while. This is a video about Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, and we're going to start out this little series I'm doing with one of the most important characters to the series, and if it wasn't for this character's, her past, and her choices that she has made, we would not have this series. We're starting with the one and only, the boss. Born in 1922, as the daughter of the original higher-ranking members of the Wise Men's Committee, and later was raised and taken care of by the philosophers. Her father was killed by the philosophers, however, for sharing forbidden secrets and information with her. In 1941, during World War II, she was invited to the SAS as an advisor, which led to the creation of L Detachment, where she met David O, or Major Zero, and led many missions, raids, and kidnapping of enemy soldiers. She created the Cobra unit in 1942, which consisted of herself, she was known as the Joy at the time, the Pain, the Fear, the End, the Fury, and the Sorrow. She led the team, which earned her the title of Boss. Each member of the Cobra unit had a special skill or ability. We will go over this at a later date. By creating the Cobras, she became the mother of Special Forces. She was ordered to infiltrate Los Alamos and assassinate one of the Manhattan Project scientists, John von Neumann, under the belief that he was a Nazi spy, and make his death look like an accident. Just before the mission started, she found out she was pregnant by the Sorrow. Her cover was blown because she was distracted by her pregnancy. She avoided a shot to her gut, but she did receive a shot that grazed the side of her head, which put her into a coma for 3 months. She fully recovered after 6 months, but due to her failing the mission, it was discovered that Neumann, being a spy, was Soviet misinformation to sabotage the Manhattan Project. The boss felt that him still being alive resulted in the Cold War, which she felt partially responsible for. She was tasked to take herself and her Cobras to take out several V-2 rocket installations near Juno Beach. This is where she gave birth on the battlefield. going into labor after a shot to the gut, a C-section or cesarean section was required, but in the chaos, the C-section went wrong and left a snake-shaped scar across her chest. She did, however, give birth to a baby boy that was soon taken away from her by the philosophers.
Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're
The boss began participating in government experiments on November 1st, 1951. The boss was involved with atomic testing where she was exposed to radiation and was rendered infertile. It was around this time she first met a 15-year-old named John, and she was drawn to him due to their similar experiences. Her and John then spent nearly a decade together, training him as her disciple and developing CQC, a basic form of close-quarters combat that the two were experts in. John would claim that part of him belonged to the boss, and that they were closer than friends, soldiers, or lovers. She also helped develop the halo jump, or high-altitude low opening. June 12, 1951, she was assigned to a top-secret mission by the President of the United States. This mission involved Russians who were against the new one-party regime. They were tasked with stealing and sabotaging various Soviet space projects and possibly becoming directly involved to slow them down or fully sabotage. However, the CIA disagreed with this and refused to help her, forcing the boss to utilize the philosopher's spy channels and various connections for the first time to accomplish her mission. She placed a sleeper agent to recruit these spies. The CIA soon took over and took all the credit for the mission's success. The boss did not mind. The boss did discover discrepancies regarding the Soviet blueprints, mainly in regards to Sputnik 5, where there was an ejection pod. She tried to report her findings to the CIA, but they ignored her, thinking she wanted to regain her glory. She ended up infiltrating the Soviet Union without any support and infiltrated the OKB-1 research facility. She discovered that her sleeper agent fully defected to the Soviet Union. The reason being that the CIA was pocketing a large amount of his paychecks, and that the pod in Sputnik was meant for a human to survive re-entry. She reported her findings to NASA, which resulted in the CIA blaming everything that went wrong on the mission on the boss, to cover up their failures to JFK, the President of the United States at that time. The boss was chosen for the Mercury project and met Dr. Strangelove for the first time. She was sent into space to acquire data on how the human body could cope in such conditions. Dr. Strangelove is a character we will be very, very knowledgeable about in the future. She unofficially became the first American in space, and seeing the Earth from above sparked her dream of uniting the world as one. On her return, she veered off course and crash-landed into the ocean, resulting in the boss being thrown from the capsule, severely burned by both cosmic radiation and heat from re-entry. Miraculously, the boss survived, but was hospitalized and was put into a coma for 6 months. The military covered up the accident by claiming the boss took place in the Bay of Pigs invasion, which failed. The boss recovered, but the current administration resented the fact that the Russians widely publicized their successful spaceflight, while the boss's crash and injuries forced the U.S. to cover up their spaceflight, despite the fact she was in space first. The boss had used the Philosopher's spy connections to place her sleeper agent, but once they were discovered, no branch of the Philosophers would help her anymore. The Soviets decided to send in the Sorrow, the boss's former lover, who had returned to the Soviet Union after the Cobras disbanded after World War II had ended. Unaware that the boss was involved, the Sorrow is the one who successfully turned the spy to the Soviet Union. In 1962, she was sent on a mission to kill the Sorrow. Technically, the objective was that only one of them was allowed to live. The philosophers forced the boss and the Sorrow to participate by telling them that they would kill their child if they both survived. Please forgive my pronunciation of any of the names of the locations or places in this game. It is in Russian, and I have a very hard time reading and pronouncing these.
My friends,
The boss and the Sorrow met on top of a bridge in Selinoyarsk and discovered what they should do, but ended up agreeing that the Sorrow should be the one to die. Begrudgingly, the boss shot the Sorrow through the eye, but since the Sorrow was a powerful medium and psychic, he returned from the dead 2 years later as a spirit. This starting the boss's hatred and obsession with uniting the world as one, so the philosophers would not have as much power as they do. In 1962, a former SAS associate of the boss, Major Zero, we mentioned him earlier, and you heard him talk and saw him. He invited the boss to form a new CIA unit. This unit was called Fox. In 1964, the boss remained in connection with the United States and was ordered to take part in a major operation to recover the Philosopher's Legacy. We'll go over what the Philosopher's Legacy is at a later date. The operation was called the Virtuous Mission. In order to acquire the legacy, the boss had to trade her way into Gru and into Volgan's ranks, utilizing the Philosopher's connections once again. Volgan contacted the boss and suggested defection, as well as learning the location of the Soviet scientist Sokolov, who was developing a secret weapon at the time.
I'm defecting to the Soviet Union.
A month later,
Sokolov is
the CIA director greenlit the Virtuous Mission. She then reunited with Naked Snake, where she served as part of Mission Control, headed by Major Zero. She maintained radio contact with Mission Control and Snake. She was supposedly calling it from a submarine in the Arctic. The boss removed herself from radio contact as Snake retrieved Sokolov
too pure for us.
from, oh, Jesus, Rosvet.
Has not yet found an emotion to carry into
The
battle.
boss provided Volgan with 2 portable nuclear warheads and a launcher. This weapon is called the Davy Crockett. America. To gain his trust, the boss also helped recover Sokolov before he could escape with Snake's help. The boss used her Cobra unit to fully kidnap Sokolov. The boss fought Snake and just beat the shit out of him. Broke his arm, broke his ribs, dismantled his gun, and threw him off a bridge. Before she threw him off a bridge, Snake did grab her trademark bandana. As we can see, the boss rides away in a helicopter. You can see their brief connection that she has with Snake. Volgan decided to test his new weapon and destroyed Sokolov's design bureau. The destruction of this bureau sent the Soviet government into a panic,
My apprentice.
and the plane that was used for the Virtuous Mission was detected by radar, making it look like the explosion was an American attack. The Soviet army and government called for retaliation, but Khrushchev was willing to accept President Johnson's assurances that the United States was innocent and that the attack was carried out by Soviet traitors. Khrushchev needed evidence to convince the cabinet and the army, so the CIA arranged to have the boss killed to clear America's name in a mission called Snake Eater. Naked Snake was redeployed under the command of Major Zero with orders to recover the remaining warhead, extract Sokolov, disable the Shagohod, and eliminate Volgan and the boss. Unbeknownst to Snake, he was meant as a way for the boss to smuggle out the Philosopher's Legacy out of Volgan's hands and into the Americans. Continuing the act, the boss would allow herself to be killed by her beloved protege, but not for lack of trying to kill him first. Because let me just tell you, she kicks his ass several times. As you can see on the bridge, when he re-lands,
Now,
and a
onto
couple of parts we'll
Sokolok's
get to in the
research
future, but I don't want to spoil nothing anyway. Understanding that she had to give her life and even eternally sacrifice her reputation for her country in order to save the world from nuclear war. After Snake made landfall, she got into a fight with him in order to plant a transmitter on him so she could track his movements and subtly help him in his mission, while maintaining Volgan's trust and the appearance that she was a traitor to the United States. One by one, Snake killed off the Cobra unit. The boss was almost had her cover blown after Volgan discovered the transmitter she had planted on him when she was becoming hesitant upon ordered by him to cut out one of Snake's eyes while he was being tortured.
looks like
Upon Snake's re-entry into Russia to start the mission called Snake Eater, we can see the boss's obsession with dismantling his weapons in front of him.
arm still hurt?
We'll see this at minimum of one other time.
What are you doing here?
Go home. Go home. Gru and my sons are waiting up ahead. You don't have a prayer of finishing your mission. You're not even armed.
Boss!
I'm not your boss anymore. There's nothing for you here. Go home. Go back to your boss. There's no need to prove that you are virtuous here. This isn't America. That should stir things up a bit. You'd better hurry. The border is 60 miles south of here. You ought to be able to run that far.
Why'd you defect?
I didn't. I'm loyal to the end, to my purpose. What about you, Jack? What's it going to be? Loyalty to your country or loyalty to me? Your country or your old mentor? The mission or your beliefs? Your duty to your unit or your personal feelings? You don't know the truth yet. But sooner or later you'll have to choose. I don't expect you to forgive me. But you can't defeat me either. You know me too well. Just look at that bandana. If you can't put the past behind you, you won't survive long. If we meet again, I'll kill you. Now, go home.
Are you ready?
Looks like your luck hasn't run out yet.
There's no such
Unbeknownst
thing
to
as
the
luck
boss,
in the field.
and even to Ocelot, they are indeed mother and child. But not knowing this doesn't stop the boss from putting him in his place when he needs to. So, kick his ass, boss.
You'd better stay in line from now on. The Cobras will take care of him.
Has the CIA dog been disposed of yet?
The pain is dead.
What? He may be a child, but he's definitely one of yours. I fear Khrushchev may have a hand in this. We have no time to lose. You must eliminate him before the final test.
Don't worry. They'll be able to handle it. I'm leaving him to you, the field.
The old man is always sleeping. Is he all right?
The end is saving what life he has left in him for battle. Normally, he's dead. But he'll wake up when the time is right. And when he does, it will be the end for the boy.
No. Sokolov isn't worth your love. You can entertain me until the rain stops. Kuwabara. Kuwabara.
Desaro, is that you?
Okay, while we're going from this part of the story to the next, we're just gonna go up this small ladder, so hopefully it won't be too crazy long, or go up, I don't know, through a mountain and have a song sang in the background to completion, and it'll be fun. It'll be over in just a couple minutes, so y'all just wait there.